So on today's massive Thursday based excitement, we are halfway through putting a pump back in a Land Cruiser. I have inspected it and checked it, but my van's doing me head in. So it's decided to keep going into limp, wobble, won't rev mode. No turbo boosty, which is really annoying. Now it doesn't have any burst boosty pipes. What it is doing, I'll just check it hasn't got any burst boosty pipes. No, it hasn't. It's doing the standard CDI, this generation of Sprinter. Some of the C&E classes do it as well, going into limp mode. Now, this has got a variable vane turbo. So unlike an earlier type of turbo, where you had a wastegate that relieved the pressure, so basically it wasted exhaust gas straight out of the exhaust at a certain PS of eyes, open it came, that was your boost settings. No, this is variable VVT as we know it. So variable vane turbos were, as a really good idea, designed to make your turbo spool faster, to give you more of the boosties off the mark. And then it doesn't have a wastegate, because what it has is on its, obviously it's got an impeller in the exhaust, driving it, and an impeller on the intake side, sucking in air and blowing it at the engine, yep. Now round the impeller in the exhaust are a set of very tiny little vanes, yep. And they are variable pitch, variable vane turbo. So there's a ring in there, controlled by a vacuum controller on the outside. We'll get some stuff in a minute and lay it out and I'll explain it. That basically varies the pitch at which the incoming exhaust gas in the turbo hits the turbine wheel, spinny, spinny. So, you know, like when you get your hose pipe and you spin it and you're steam cleaning something and you point it at a fan, you can make it spin faster or slower, a set of fan blades along like an engine or something you're cleaning, by adjusting the pitch of the water coming in. It's exactly the same with the gas. So, really sharp pitch, spinny fast, flatter pitch, spinny slower. So these are obviously variable vane. So when you fire up one of these trucks, it hauls the turbo to basically base pitch, which is full boosty. And then varies it. So you can always look at a Sprinter and see if it's in limp mode. We'll show you in a minute, but if you've got it running, revvy, lean your head in there and you'll see the pitch vane control, the variable pitch vane controller, which is vacuum operated, move. So when you start it, you should see it disappear down, point of maximum, spin, boost, yeah. None of that is happening, something has broken. Now this entire system on a Sprinter is reliant, and even on the later Sprinters, is reliant on vacuum. So obviously here we have a large vacuum pump bolted on the front of the engine, yeah. This, because it's a 416, has a secondary vacuum tank, which is down there, so we're going to check that that is, because the brakes are good, so it's the same vacuum. So this pump supplies vacuum to your brake master cylinder, brake servo, to give you extra braking force, which is, you can tell when that's not working, because your brakes will be really hard to not work properly. Now the brakes on this are perfect. And then the vacuum supply off, so you have vacuum here, see these little brown pipes whizzing around all over the place? That is the vacuum supply to the rest of the vehicle for the other stuff it does. So on a Sprinter, we used to get lots of people saying, my van only goes in limp mode in the winter. You'd be like, right. And then we figured that, because basically there's a vacuum swap over valve just here. We'll demonstrate this in a minute. That closes the cold air intake for this heater blower, puts it on recirculate. So when you click the thingy on the dashboard, shut this flap, if you have a problem with your piping over here, loses all the vacuum. So then you've got no vacuum going down. There's another unit in here, which we're going to look at in a minute, which is the vacuum controller for the variable vane turbo. So all of a sudden, you've got a massive vacuum leak over there. No vacuum here for your VVT. Goes in limp, because you've shut the heater recirculation valve and it's leaking air, or leaking vacuum. So when you turn it off, it stops leaking vacuum, back your turbocharger comes. You're getting all this. So what we're going to do, because there are also some other annoyances, as you will see, this technically 03, 52, 03. This should have been a facelift, one of these, because 52 early '03, they changed these dim rubbish headlights for some clear ones on a different grille. Now I reckon this truck must have been built, and because obviously it was sat at a special vehicles place, they probably bought them in bulk. So this may have been registered in 2003, but it's more likely to be a 2002 truck because it's got the older school lights. And as you'll see, they're yellow and you can't see where you're going. So what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade the lights in the front while we're at it, because the best way to get to the vacuum controller, which is underneath the airbox in here for this variable vane turbo, is to take a headlight out when you look at it. Otherwise, it's underneath there. Well, I can do it like this if we're in a real jam, backwards, blind. That won't be very interesting for you. So we're going to show you how to assess your vacuum system to make sure that that is your fault. Also explain the other annoyances that do the same thing, because there is a wiring harness across the front of here on your Sprinter that does like to break, that controls that vacuum controller, because it comes all the way from here by the ECU across the front up in there. So if you had a donker in the middle of the front bumper, which does happen, you won't see it because the bumpers are really easily changed and people just leave the mushy cross member behind. Normally that kills the wiring harness, water gets into it, and then that gives you another sort of similar no boosty, no go fault. Just makes you flat. Won't rev above 3,000 revs, and you don't get none of the YRs. So we're severely lacking in YR at the moment. And after a point of time with one of these, you can key off, key on, key off, key on whilst going along, and it'll sort of half boost and then it will shut itself off. But once it's registered a code a certain amount of the times in the ECU, it just shuts itself down to stop you nana in it, and then it won't come back round again, which is what this one has done. And seeing as it wouldn't go above 3,000 revs, wouldn't go anywhere this morning, I've had enough. I'm leaving the Land Cruiser and we are fixing my truck so I can go home fast if I needed to. You've got all this, haven't you? So welcome to our toolbox of turbochargers. So this is an LT95 Mark II 2.5 TDI, the lower horsepower one, turbocharger. Now, I'm not quite sure where I got this one from. It's a big Garrett. So I think this turbocharger here is 65 C15 Iveco. 3 litre, no, 2.8. So this turbocharger here is old school, wastegated, non-variable vane. This one over here is big variable vane turbocharger. So, way to tell. VVT, this is non-VVT. See, this has a vacuum cylinder on the side here, yep. Now, admittedly, that one has a vacuum cylinder, but they do two totally different things. This is a pressure-driven wastegate turbocharger. So, this turbo, obviously, you've got all... It's just got 4 cylinders. I wonder what I got that off of. I think that is Iveco. We're going to be both Iveco turbochargers. Forget the Volkswagen bit. So basically, you've got all your exhaust gas coming out your cylinders here, whizzing into this, basically almost snail shell, this swirl here, driving your turbine wheel, which is in here, yep. She spins this one on the other side here, which sucks air in through this intake here and blows it at pressure out of here. And when it gets up to a certain pressure, so obviously there's a degree of stall on there and the pressure in this manifold is whatever too much, you'll see that this has got a little blow-off pipe there linking over from the pressure side. So this is pressurised because obviously there's air being forced in here, yep, to this poppet valve here. So when this gets up to a certain PS of ice, it blows this poppet valve open here, which I will demonstrate, see? Open the poppet valve. It's a bit seized because it's been sat on a shelf for years. So it's sprung return. Yep. So when you get a, like, let's say we're running at 15 pounds per square inch, 20 psi, let's be a bit more sporty, 20 psi in the system, it'll start to force this poppet valve open. Now this poppet valve opens, might even be able to get all over excited and open it. Where is me whacker gun? Let's go and break some stuff. Oh, is that a 12 or is that a... No, that's just a rusty 13. Let's see if we can open this non-variable vane, standard actuator turbocharger up, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is probably not going to work. Oh, starting well. That might have sounded like the noises of shear edge, but it wasn't. It's just ruined my stock of turbochargers. This could be a Volkswagen LT turbocharger. I can't remember. Too many hours on the clock, too much to think about. Ah, right, there we go. So here you will see we have our incoming exhaust gases come whipping in here, look. So that's me, let me close that again because it's a bit seized. We'll oil on that in a minute. Not that it's going on anything. So you'll see, there's your turbine wheel. See? So you've got your exhaust gas coming in here, whizzing round here, getting a bit of a spin on, and then to get out, it has to go past this wheel and spin the shaft, going straight through on some oil flotation bearings. That's another day explaining that. Flicker bearings, spinning the turbine wheel on the other side, which is dragging air in. So whizzy, 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 whizzy. That'll be doing ridiculous RPMs. So when it gets up to that sort of set 20 psi, it opens this wastegate valve like that. It shouldn't stay open, but we have assessed that it is half seized. So as this little valve opens here, that allows the exhaust gas to bypass basically. So instead of being forced to go around and spin this wheel, it can then come out through this hole there, straight into this manifold down piece like that, straight out the exhaust, which then lowers the pressure in here, and this will start to slow down, thus lowering your boost. And then when it's lowered enough and this valve is closed again, shuts, yep, starts spinning it with force again. Are you following me? So we're going to put this down over here somewhere so we can put it all back together in a minute, so we don't lose it all. Right, put that over there so I can put it back together again, because that, even with a slightly seized shaft, which is only oily. So this is the other turbocharger. So this is variable vane. Now notice, scroll, turbine wheel, no section to allow wastegate passing of gases and relieving pressure into the exhaust manifold. What we have is a vacuum cylinder. Look very similar, basically, same sort of idea really. I mean, you can hear it here that this has got a vane puller on it. So there is the variable vane actuator, and this at the moment is on the pitch will be, should be on maximum, we'll work that out in a minute. So this will be low boost at current, so pull it up there, that's as fast as it can, with as much pressure as it can spin the wheel, and then it lets it backwards and forwards. So this is vacuum operated, so sucky vacuum on here, loads of boost, no vacuum on here, not as much boost. Keeping up. And then basically what we're going to do, because this turbocharger is good, I'm going to go and put this over here. For training and quality purposes, we have this almost the same. This is off a 2.8, no, this is off a 2.5 TDI Volkswagen LT. And you'll see it no spinny, broken, but it's a variable vane. So if I attack it, well, I have put in a second ago taken the bolts out. If I just gently beat on it here a minute because it is dead, see if I can separate it, and we'll explain pitch vanes. I'll have to go and beat on it with something slightly bigger and harder in a minute. I'm going to be not careful, I'm going to spill my tea. I should be back in a second. I'm going to attack it. It is scrap, by the way, so don't feel bad for me beating on this aluminium housing. She's done. Well, I've broken the front of it because I've hit on it too much, but that will be helpful for explaining. So there she is. Look, so that you'll see that this is all munchy and seized up and horrible. So this is dead because basically this suffered oil starvation and the oil flotation bearings in this didn't get enough oil, got hot, died. This is junk. So there's your turbine wheel that sits in your exhaust, and you'll see as a shaft driving straight through, 2 oil flotation bearings, flicker bearings, whatever you want to call them. This one is particularly tight, and there is your turbine wheel or your impeller on the input side of the turbo. So basically this would normally be sat in here. So you've got your little variable vane arm coming through, and can you see he's got a little nub in there? Yep, that's all it moves. In this inside of this large hub here, that nubbin fishes in to a ring. And can you see, like, this ring will come out? It's got 3 rollers. We have managed to, by beating it with a hammer, disengage it from most of the variable vane sections. Can I get it to go back together again without having to hit it more with a hammer? Yes, I can. So that lump there hooks into there. Yep. So basically it moves the vanes. Now if you look inside that hub, can you see the pitched vanes? There, look. See, here we are. Each one of these little arms with this ring controls a vane. So inside that turbo, we'll come a bit closer, you'll see all the little vanes, and that is a variable vane turbo. So the vanes are variable, so that would be basically the gas not really spinning the impeller wheel, and then if you bring them at pitch at it, that'll be it, giving it everything it's got. So basically what it does, instead of having a wastegate ability, is it varies these vanes to spin slower, faster, and with less force. This turbine wheel, which is in turn spinning this impeller turbine wheel. This one sucking air in. This one is being driven by exhaust gases. You can see that the wheels, the bigger scoops on this one. This one is grabbing hold of atmospheric pressure air, forcing it in. If I go and get the swirl I beat off with a hammer earlier on. So obviously I have broken this bit, but you'll see this was sat in here. So basically as it spins, it's pulling air in through here, and then forcing it into this, pressurising it into this snail sort of clamp snail shell afterwards, and then forcing it out of here at pressure. And this would be linked to your inlet manifold. So that would originally have been sat on there till I'll hit it lots with a hammer and it died, because this is junk. I've got loads of broken turbos. And then this would be free spinning. So this exhaust gas driving through, oil flicker bearings in here, driving, sucking air in and pressurising it into your engine to give you more of the broom brooms and the boom booms. So variable vane, good system, but it does rely on this vacuum adjuster. One being vacuum tight, because you'll find certain times that the diaphragms go in here. So when it goes to suck a vacuum in here to give you the more of the yee-haws, it can't, because the air passes past. These occasionally get seized, obviously, because you've got lots of bits of metal. You know, when you get trouble with your Volkswagen, I mean, especially with DPFs, that these little brass things in here, you'll get your variable vane turbo go sticky, because you can see the soot loadings building up in this one, look. And I mean, the more soot and the more goo get jammed in here, the more difficult it is to vary the vanes, and the more likely for the thing to overboost, go into limp, underboost, mess you around. So I'm going to go and put this back over here now, and then we're going to go over here and we're going to check vacuums and explain how it works on here. So you will see I've made the grill evaporate on my Sprinter. I didn't really believe you needed to see that. And if you are utterly upset by the fact that you now don't know how to take your grill out, you probably, if you can't manage to take your grill out, probably shouldn't be trying to fix your turbocharger. Taking the grill out is the really easy bit. So, I'm going to quickly scooch this headlight out for testing and quality purposes, and plus the fact they're not going back in because they're the rubbish old ones and they're all faded. Try not to lose these nice original screws that hold it in. They've always got an amalgamation normally of like 5 different crap screws where someone's done this before. Had the headlights out and then lost them all. Which upsets me, and then I have to spend ages going around the yard finding the correct screws, because sometimes I do believe I may possibly have some issues in those departments. Headlight out. So you will see, that is why my truck is not boosting, because the pipe has fell off of it. That's handy. Anyway, what we are going to do, the pipe has gone completely, is continue on and show you how that there works once I've found the pipe bit that should be running my turbocharger, and then I'll explain the problems and what you need to test to fix it, even though we may have just found what we need to do to fix it. What on earth has that gone? I mean, has it gone? It has gone completely. It has left the chat. We have returned. So to test one's vacuum system, you are going to need a vacuum gauge. Easily acquirable off of, I mean, this one is a US Pro one. They're about 20 quid. You could have a really spanky one if you needed, but this will do. Or I'm sure you could probably buy one off Temu for £2.50 with 300 free gifts and a load of hassly emails. Tried that last week. So you need to be able to read and test vacuum. Now what do I need to do to get this all sorted? So we're probably not going to need much out of here, maybe just that and a short link pipe. Let's put that back over there. So on this particular Mercedes, so this is a 416 CDI, so 904 as far as I can remember, you have your little brown pipes, yep. So there is your vacuum supply coming off of your main vacuum pump. So that's doing your brakes, and then there's a bleed off little small vacuum pipe there with a rubber wire on it joining. There's a little brown pipe going down here that goes underneath the airbox into this lot down here, and then a brown one going up over there that goes right over here, comes round this corner to a vacuum swap over valve, electrically operated one, that shuts and opens and closes this recirculation valve. So we're going to need to fire the vehicle up, and then we'll show you how to check if you've got vacuum at both ends, which is dead simple. And then you can test your vacuum services, and then we'll show you how the variable vacuum controller, which is just there, we'll need to do a bit more close up on, works. We have quickly moved, due to it being British winter time now, and it gets really dark and miserable quite quickly. So what we're going to do is fire this up, we'll check for vacuum. So, you won't be able to hear very much, but if you see, this is a vacuum gauge. If I put my finger across there, if I pull a vacuum, it registers. Let the finger off, it's gone. So we want to start somewhere. So here, this little brown pipe, we're going to pull it out and dump all my vacuum, if it'll let me have it. And we'll plug this in here. Not a lot of vacuum happening there, is there? Oh, it is coming up. Isn't very good at all, is it? Right, let's just fish this pipe off of here a minute. See if we got a vacuum leak down here. So that's the vacuum pipe. Right, so basically you can see we're losing vacuum there, look. So that's me pulling to this. Or are we losing vacuum here? It's got a vacuum accumulator cylinder down the bottom here. I know I'm probably pretty much out of shot now. That is rubbish. What is causing that? There is a little vacuum accumulator cylinder down here, and I'm a bit suspicious that has died. You going to get up there or not? We are struggling, aren't we? Right, this is going to be a bit noisy, but you'll see we are sort of still building a vacuum here. But basically, on a Sprinter, so that's your incoming vacuum line, and what you've normally got is a T-over, which I've got here. This is your turbo, your variable vane turbo controller there, so that's the line we'd lost completely. This goes to the poppet valve I showed you on a turbo earlier. And this is supplied with a vacuum to here, and then it's got like a vacuum backup tank here. But if I've plumbed directly to now if I put my finger over the end of that pipe, see how quickly that vacuum comes up. It's going to go off the chart in a minute. And gone again, whereas if I now plug it straight into the turbo controller, which I probably shouldn't do, see how quickly it's climbing? And that's working a turbo basically. But whereas if I plug it into this little vacuum tank here, I have a feeling our little vacuum type might be a bit compromised. I'm going to quickly pop out and go and get another one of these off a dead one, because that should be going up faster than that, you would assume. We'll get some bits and then I'll keep explaining how all this works. So I did have my head in the way for half of that, but you're getting the idea anyway, aren't you? So we're going to return this vacuum line to here a minute, just to seal the system up. And what we can do now, the nice thing with these pumpable vacuum gauges is that you can actually draw a vacuum on things. So if we unplug this incoming brown pipe here, we are going to check and see if this tank holds a vacuum properly or not. Whether it is broken. It is broken. Can you see the... I don't know, are we broken? Let's go over again, let's go a bit higher. Perhaps we're not. Why have we got such poor vacuum pickup down there then? Interesting. So perhaps it's just struggling to pull that up. Perhaps I'm expecting too much of it. So we've got no movement there, so that tank is not leaking. I'll take that back, so we'll leave that alone. Now obviously when this is working you will lose a degree of vacuum, so what we could do while we're here is just check that my turbo variator is holding a vacuum. Nope, she is dude. Now that's probably because she's on vent, because you have a vent pipe on the bottom of this variable vane vacuum controller, which goes up in the... We could just pop this poppet valve off here, and we'll see if that should be on vent, because have we got a massive leak on that? Nope. So with the vent covered over with your finger, as soon as so she's designed to dump pressure out when it's turned off. So what we want to do now to test it, and we're happy with the tank. I'm going to rule out the tank being rubbish. Let's just check these rubber pipes aren't poop as well. Where is my little linker? You are free, aren't you? Yep. Have you in there like so. Dropping all the stuff. Just plug you in the door. Test the pipe work. Put finger over vent hole at the bottom. Oh, we're going to hold the vacuum. There's a little bit of leach there, but no, we're good. And you'll hear a let off there. So in theory then, all of that is functioning as it should, as long as the turbo variator doofer thingy is actually working. Right, what we're going to do is plug this in here, start the truck again, and just see if it does draw, after a period of time, a decent vacuum. Got your eyes peeled. Yeah, let's give it some of the ravages. Not a lot of vacuum, is it? Let's check this side, see if we get... You'll see, it's quite common for the pipe to the heater. She's still climbing. The heater swap over valve to break on the other side. It goes mouldy over here, and when it does, it leaks vacuum, and you'll see you lose all your turbocharger vacuum. If I put my finger over here, she should go right back up again, he said. And it should be building a better vacuum than that, shouldn't it? Right, half an hour later, I'll put my vacuum gauge. So that was confusing me there, because we were tried a different tank, even though I know this one's good. Nothing had changed, and we were just getting such a slow increase of vacuum. So it's open at the moment, open circuit. Look at her go. That's what we wanted to see. What actually was happening, you'll see up here, this is the main in feed coming from the pump. I was getting slightly suspicious of the pump. Pump is fine. There's a bullet tank on a 416 down on the chassis leg to give you extra vacuum. What was happening was it was actually the rubber on the end of here wasn't seated properly. So it was actually leaking vacuum round the edge of the servo. Took that off, cleaned that up. That's much better. Whereas before we were struggling to get above 3, we're now pulling right off the gauge. We'll be right round at 7 minus 760 in a minute and keep going. So that is that bit fixed. You can hear the cartouche as it lets off. So what we now need to do is find the bits of pipe that I've all lost. And I'll put all of them. Oh really? Where did you put that? You put it in there, you put it there. So we need to replumb this so it all joins correctly. That one and that one there. Put it over to my turbo boost actuator. Plumb this back in here. And then in theory, we need you on the bottom of there, don't we? We're not pulling any. Nope, that's good. This big turbo boost actuator pulled down. Oh, she is pinned. Marvellous. Sounded a bit like a boost leak. More boost leaking me. All the pipes. Right, let's pin the throttle down a bit because we'll back you out a second. Right, we may have gone slightly off piste a minute, but we'll fix this and then I'm going to explain how all this works. Definitely got hissing coming from somewhere. Oh, around there. Got the microphone off, can you hear that? We are absolutely shitting the boosts around there. Why are we doing that? Right. So it looks like we've got another problem to sort there. What has gone on there? Oh, well that'll be why then, because there's supposed to be a big O-ring around the end there, and it's not there. So that must have been missing the entire. How did we miss that? I need to put a new O-ring around the end of that. Anyway, we'll explain the system now. So we're going to come back down here, and I'm going to go through the bits that stop your turbo boosting on your Sprinter, and then you'll know what to do. So we'll explain this vacuum system closely. So can you see there? Those are the little brown pipes. He's dropped his torch again. He's doing well. Little brown pipes. So what we had was a leak round here. We fixed that. So this one is the brown pipe that goes down to the turbo boost variator, which is down there. And then you'll see this brown line coming out the top, Goes right over the top of the airbox round the back. And then if you look just there, you'll see that is the heater swap over valve for closing this flap in here during the winter. Now what very commonly happens, with some lovely subscriber from Australia phoned us a couple of years ago. He'd had his in limp for about 7 years and it had been everywhere, and we were like, right, we know what that is. This pipe here will split over time, so then that dumps all of your vacuum and then your turbo won't boost, completely separate. And same with this output pipe. You need to check there's a poppet valve up there, so make sure this pipe is good and make sure this pipe is good and that this is all sealed properly, because if you lose that there, then basically you'll lose your boost actuator on your boost arm on your turbo, and you'll lose your turbo vane variator. So down in here on a Sprinter, you'll see coming in is the other end of that brown line. There, look, comes up to a T, got a plastic vacuum tank, gives you a bit of extra vacuum, and then this here, you can hear merrily chirping away, is your variable vane controller. So vacuum line in, it's got a line here that goes to the poppet valve on the turbo like we showed you earlier on, and then it's got basically a vent at the bottom here because it needs to be allowed to ditch vacuum, dump it from this side to allow the turbo pitch to go one way and then put more vacuum to it to pull it the other. These are a very common fail. They do break for a pastime, and they are normally the main cause of Sprinter limp mode, along with easier things like these giving up the go-go. So best bet is to take your headlight out, check that. I mean, you'll see when the vehicle's running, you hear so it's got a vacuum to the turbo, and it was leaching that off a minute ago. Oh, we've still got a fair bit of vacuum in the system because it's built it back up again. So that's the turbo variator valve, and then there is a line that comes off of that. That was the one I'd lost completely, goes down through there, comes over and pulls on this turbocharger, and I'll show you the turbocharger in action in a minute. Once I've found, can't believe, I don't know where that went. We'll go and find a big O-ring to seal this pipe up. Right, so large O-ring found, pipe sealed. Put clip back on so pipe doesn't leave. And back where it was supposed to be, like so. She's all good, so that's all my boost back in my Sprinter. This thing is going to go like hell on the way home. So the way these systems are controlled, if you look down there, that is a manifold pressure sensor, so a boost pressure sensor in this loop. So you've got, obviously, airbox in, turbocharger down there with its variable vanes on it, yep. And then it comes out of the turbocharger into the bottom of the intercooler, which is easy clamped on the front, just there. That is the intercooler. They do have to watch on Sprinters that they have a tendency to break intercoolers around here. So if you get lots of oil around here, I'm dead suspicious of this one being on its way out because it's a little bit moist there. And then basically, so that's cooling the air coming out of the turbocharger to make it colder and denser when it goes into your engine. Up through here. So that sensor there is going, oh, this is how much pressure we've got, and variating the turbo over there. And then obviously your boost pressure pipes in, and then on these you've got your big manifold, and this is then pressurised into your engine for all your fuel to be thrown at it for the supersonic boom booms. So you sort of might know if you lose any of them. And also, as I said earlier, the one that's murdered is this wiring harness. This wiring harness runs all the way. You'll see it. Where is it on this one? See it clipped in under there. That's it, right across the front of the cross member. Comes up in behind this headlight, joins in here and goes up into the computer in here. And they do have a tendency for breaking. So if you read a code and you've got an open circuit to that, go and test your wiring and you'll normally find it's broken. It likes breaking sort of here normally, right in the middle. And I'm going to put some new headlights in, that's my next plan. And then there's a possibility of going home at great speed. Ta-da! So basically I have quickly scooched some more modern headlights in. This is the later grille, and the later grille surround, which I think is slightly nicer. So what I'm going to do now, almost as an end to this video, via a few other minor things, is we'll get camera in here, and we'll get Fudgy over there to start this, and I'll show you turbo position and movement, because I've taken the guard off, which is over there. So hopefully this thing now should be boosting properly, and we'll go like a stamped rat. Much better, faster van, because you needed a faster van. So I'm going to get you in a minute to start this top quality machine.
Yep.
And then we're going to show these people how this turbo variator thing, which is down in there. See the, you just wedge that there. That is the little variable vane rod there. So if you go and start my big ugly Sprinter, Mr. Fudge.
Okay.
You should see that. Hopefully if we're code clear and it's happy, that lever should pull down.
All right.
Hang on, the world's noisiest compressor has just started.
I know, it's typical.
Go and fire it up, Mr. Fudge.
Okay.
Give it some revs. Oh, there she goes. Right, you'll see. Now it's generated some vacuum. Can you rev it again, Fudgy? See the little variating lever as he rev it, let off. See her come up then, look, and then she lets the boosty go. So basically that is fixed. Do it again, Fudgy. Yeah, we have the pressures. Marvellous. And turn that off. That hopefully is fixed. We shall just code clear it.
Da da da.
Da da da. Well, the last thing to do, we will just go into said truck and see what code she's got. So this is Mercedes, obviously it says X entry at the moment, which is your front page. It's a C5 multiplexer, so we go Sprinter 2. We could go through all the faffy bit, but if we're lazy we just hit X entry diagnosis, and then it should swap into DAS, the Diagnostic Access Service, which is for older Mercedeses. And here we go, upcoming DAS page. I'm going to put my tea down and press buttons now, and let me put my coffee there, the Fudgy's just nicely made me. So on again. Wobble, wobble, wobble. Now we'll have a load of low boost codes. Yes, yes, yes. No. It's complicated, this diagnosis, you know. Yes. Here we go. We'll have a load of random stuff. Heat plugs, I think, because I've just done 2 of those. So there's my chassis number and my mileage. Don't want to go quick test. We'll just go control units because we know where the fault is. Drive. Common rail 611 or 612. This is a 612. So, fault codes and vents. Checking, checking. So what have we got? Charge pressure control, basic pressure is too low, current installed. Voltage relay supply, relay switch is too soon. No fault. Yeah, fine, that's not a worryable then. So basically that would be your charge pressure being too high or too low. That's the limp mode code, so we'll just get rid of those. Yes. Switch off the ignition. Yes. So have both of those gone. Yay! Right, let's come back out of that because we know it's not going to come back because it works. Way. Boosty, boosty. Oh, I mean, there is a fleet. So, Charlie has fixed. I'm picking it up this evening for you, aren't you?
Yes.
The GC4 ECU went funky and some capacitors exploded, didn't they? Not capacitors, yeah.
Yeah, they went plop.
Plop. which upset it lots.
Yeah.
So our top quality ECU man, Charlie, hopefully has fixed that. Well, he's put some new capacitors in, so we'll go this evening and see if it works tomorrow.
Yeah.
Peugeot is on. All the bits are here. Logbook is applied for. So if you want to buy a ticket for that, that's an ace little car. Mark is coming down from Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Is it Newcastle?
Well done, Mark. Well done.
Mark argument. He's on Monday. He's going to come down and pick that up.
Beautiful.
Peugeot is back for a retest in a minute because some rotten knobhead had cut the centre out of the catalytic converter.
They did.
Yeah, so we had to find it a catalytic converter. So we had to say, because it went in on Tuesday and then the COs were all over the place. We looked up and we were like, so there's a cut hole in it.
Yeah.
So we've acquired it a catalytic converter. That is fitted. So Ollie is coming for that on Saturday.
Okay,
and
well done, Ollie.
I've advertised this. So if anyone wants a C240, C240 estate, it is not my parents' one. My parents have an identical one because what happened was, here come the minute. It's the Navy. It's the Air Force, the Navy, the Navy.
It's Navy. Yeah.
That's a big Sea King. If that's what it looks like. We'll just let that go past. Right, you'll be able to hear us again now. So basically, when I bought my parents one of these, they don't come along very often. C240. Is it an elegant estate? So I bought one, and then 3 days later I bought another one.
You did.
So one's gone to my folks. This one we have tidied up a bit by fixing the front bumper. It currently has just over a month's MOT on it. If you are really keen and you want it, it's on eBay for like 1,700 quid. I will put a new test on it. There's nothing really wrong with it, and it hasn't done any miles to the last one. So 2.4 V6 automatic murky estate. Back bumper could do with a bit of paint. There's a few bits, but it's just not a bad car.
Yeah.
And then this next, and also next week we're going to do a load of camper vanning on my camper van. Gino is due to go the same day. They both draw the same. So the Peugeot and the Merc camper. So we're going to push Merc camper next week, and then we'll be on to the next stuff.
Yes.
We've got to, as we have a bit of a stock clearance, or I am, because it is getting a bit silly. Hence why we're selling that, not competition in it. Claire is picking up a Vito on Saturday because she's left it here for another week. Thank you very much. Al Fudge 60 Diesels.